Hello everybody, my name is Rabbi Nick and today I'm going to record for you a tutorial of how to put on tefillin. There are really three really important reasons why it's a good idea and good practice to put our tefillin on. Aside from the fact that it's one of the key identifying features of being a Jewish man is the fact that we can wear tefillin. But there are three really amazing things to consider. Number one, it is a way to anchor your day. When we wake up in the morning and we want to get started with going to work, dealing with our families, whatever it might be, we have an opportunity to carve out just a little bit of time, and you'll see it can take about 5 minutes to put on tefillin, to say Shema, to take them off again. So to carve out a small amount of time, if we're not otherwise able to pray at the morning service, to take a small amount of time to dedicate and to carve that time out and say that you are committed to God, you're committed to Torah, to leading a good, moral, Jewish life. So the tefillin really serves that purpose. If you think about it, we put it on our arm and we put it on our head. And what that is communicating is that when it comes to our actions, the things that we do with our hands and the things that we do with our heads, the thoughts that we have, we ultimately want them to be for the good. We ultimately want them to be moral. We want them to be helpful to other people, etc. So what we are declaring is that we want to make our actions and we want to make our thoughts holy, good, positive, and that's an amazing way to start our day. And everything ultimately is channeled towards our relationship with God, with Hashem. That's number one. Number two, if we think about the verses that are inside the compartments of the head tefillin, or on the one single scroll that's put inside the arm tefillin, we have 4 parshiot, we have 4 pieces of Torah text that we put inside our tefillin, and that is what we're binding to our bodies. Number one, the declaration that Hashem is one. Number two, that He is in control. Number three, that He would overturn nature for us, just like He did when He brought us out of Egypt thousands of years ago, showing clearly that He was invested in us, that He wanted us to be His people, to be His nation, and He would overturn nature and change everything around just to be able to save us and protect us. And number four, that we have an imperative to transmit these teachings to the next generation. Really important messages, and that's what we're putting on our bodies every single day. And number three, we're literally strapping the name of God to our bodies when we put tefillin on. There's a 3-letter name of Hashem that is spelled Shin, Daled, Yud. We pronounce it Shaddai. So these 3 letters, Shin, Daled and Yud, are found on the actual tefillin boxes. If we have a look at the head tefillin over here and we zoom in, then you can see the letter Shin. If you have a look at the back of the head tefillin, we can see the letter Daled. And if you have a look at the arm tefillin, right over here, this little angle over here, that represents the Yud. So when we put on tefillin in the morning, we are literally binding the name of God to ourselves. We are communicating, declaring, proclaiming, whatever word you want to use, that we are invested in having a relationship with the Almighty, bringing godliness and holiness into our lives and setting us up for the rest of the day. So now I'm going to show you how to put tefillin on. People are left-handed, people are right-handed, and there's actually a different set depending on whether you're left-handed or right-handed. The reason is because the knot on the arm tefillin, on the yad, tefillin shel yad, that is supposed to point towards our hearts. Now if you are right-handed, the tefillin are going to go on your weakest arm, which is your left hand, and so the knot is going to be pointing towards your heart. If you are left-handed, so the tefillin go on your right arm, because that is your weakest arm, and so again the knot is going to face a different way so that it's pointing towards your heart. Now I've only got one set here and I am left-handed, so all I'm going to do is just spin it around so that you'll be able to see how it works with the knot pointing towards your heart. So that's what I'm going to do for you today. So the first thing that we need to do is roll up our sleeves. For those of you who are right-handed, this one's for you. We're going to put it on the left arm. We're exposing the sleeve, and the tefillin, the arm tefillin, is going to sit right here on our arms. Now if you're using a green siddur, the brachot for Tefillin are found on page 8 in the Green Siddur. So we're going to be putting it over here on our bicep. We put the arm Tefillin up, and then making sure that our knot is pointing towards our heart, and we give it a little tug just to secure it in place, and we're going to say the bracha. Now we are going to start wrapping it around our arms, and we're going to wrap it towards our body. Now some people say, or some people complain, that this often gets very slippery. So actually what I would recommend is that for the first loop around your arm, to put it over the actual case of the tefillin, and that gives it the extra bit of security onto your arm. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. The amazing thing about having our tefillin right next to our skin is the appreciation that when it comes to having a relationship and a connection to Hashem, we don't want anything in the way. And that is part of the reason why we expose the skin of our arm, we pull back the sleeve, and in so doing, we can appreciate and understand that we want to have that direct connection with Hashem. So we're going to say the bracha to put on our tefillin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehaniach tefillin. So we've gone once over our arm, and now we're going to go 7 times along our forearm like that, and then we're going to bring it across the middle of the palm just like that. Now the truth is, when you make a bracha on tefillin and you do the mitzvah of tefillin, we're not really supposed to talk and interrupt ourselves when we're doing this, but for the sake of being able to show everybody how it's done, we're going to just walk us through how it all works. So as you can see, I've got my knot, which is pointing towards my heart. I have got my 7 loops down my arm, and then all I've done for now is just to secure it through the middle of my hand and keep it in place. Just a couple of loops around my hand like that, because the next part is to take out the head tefillin. Now the head tefillin, we've got the case at the front, and we've also got the knot at the back. And this whole thing is going to go over our heads. But here's the thing, a lot of people think that when the verse in the Torah says, Bein einecha, right, we have to put the tefillin between our eyes, that it means to put our tefillin over here. The truth is, what we're going to be doing is putting the tefillin right on top there, so that it meets the front of our hairline. Assuming you're still lucky enough to have a hairline, that's where you want to be aiming to put your tefillin. And for the back of the knot, we want to be putting it right over here, in the middle of our head, at the back, right where you can feel that little bulge at the back of your neck. That is where we're going to put the head tefillin. So we put it around, get it ready to be tightened down, and we say a bracha again. We say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tefillin, and we tighten it and we say Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Bring the front straps over the front of yourself like that, with the shiny part facing out, and you've got your head tefillin ready to go. The next thing is to finish with our hand. There are 3 verses that talk about being betrothed and being connected to Hashem, and we say these as we wrap the tefillin around our hand. And what we're going to be doing is making a shin shape right on the back of our hand here, right on the front, back, front, whatever. All right, so we're going to go across the middle finger 3 times. Ve'erastich li le'olam, ve'erastich li b'tzedek u'v'mishpat u'v'chesed u'v'rachamim, ve'erastich li be'emunah v'yadata et Adonai. We have our 3 loops over our middle finger here, and then we are going to bring it through the ring finger and back round, and that's made a V shape. So we've gone 3 times around the middle, and then behind the ring finger and out through the top, and and then we finish our shin shape like that. So there you have it. That is a right-handed way to tie our tefillin. Now we're going to do the left-handed. Okay, so we're ready to do our left-handed tefillin now. Remember, that's going to go on our right arm. So we want to prepare our bicep to be able to put the tefillin onto. And remember, we want the knot on the side of the arm tefillin to be pointing towards our heart, which granted is across our body, but that's the price you pay for being an amazing left-handed person like myself. Okay, so as I mentioned in the tutorial for the right-handed tefillin, officially we're not supposed to talk when we make the brachot and when we're putting on the tefillin, but for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to do it as a guided walk through. So we're going to put our right arm through the loop, and we're putting the case of the tefillin, the bayit of the tefillin, on our bicep like that. Get it secured into position. We're going to say the bracha and then we're going to start to wrap. And as I explained for the other set of tefillin, put the first loop over the back of the tefillin, and that will help secure it in place. Not everybody does this, but for people who think that it's going to get slippery and fall off, it's a good idea just to keep it in place like that. So we are going to make our bracha, and we're going to start to wind our tefillin. Here's the bracha again on page 8 in the green siddur. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehaniach tefillin. Once over the back, once over our bicep arm, the upper part of our arm, and 7 times over the forearm. We're wrapping towards ourselves each time rather than away. And so once you've got your 7 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just wrap it a couple of times around your hand so that it sits nicely while you put on the arm tefillin. The arm tefillin, the head tefillin has the bayit here, and it has the knot which needs to go at the back of the head. For the head tefillin, we want to make sure that it's sitting right at the front of our hairline rather than between our eyes. Even though the verse says beinei necha, that you should tie it between your eyes, it doesn't mean that literally, and we understand that we are supposed to have our tefillin over here, right at the top. So if you're lucky enough to have a hairline, that's where the tefillin are going to be sitting, and the back is going to be at the bulgy bit at the back of your head, somewhere around there. So we put the tefillin on, we get them in place, and there's a second bracha that we say, which goes like this: Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tefillin. We secure it in place, and we bring the straps to the front, keeping the shiny side of the straps facing forward. And now we're ready to wrap the rest of our hand. So we're going to be finishing off the hand now, and there are going to be 3 verses that we say. They're inside the siddur. These are verses that talk about our connection, our relationship to Hashem, and how we are betrothed and connected to Him in a very powerful way. And the verses are Ve'erastich li le'olam, Ve'erastich li b'tzedek u'v'mishpat u'v'chesed u'v'rachamim, Ve'erastich li be'emunah v'yadata et Adonai. So the way that we tie our hand, we're going to go 3 times around the middle finger. And that's going to be how we start to make the shin shape in our hand. So we go 3 times around, and we're going to go underneath the ring finger and round the top. And that's given us a V shape. So we've gone 3 times around the middle finger, and then underneath the ring, over the top, to make a V. And then we're just going to fill in the middle line with the rest of our strap. And then you've got a shin. And when you are finished, you can tuck the rest of the strap inside there. And you've got yourself a fully completed wrapping of tefillin. So as you practice, you're only going to get better and better, and you get quicker and quicker. And then what we would recommend is, if you've got very little time in your day to be able to pray properly, so at the very least, say the Shema with your tefillin on. If you have a talit, then wear your talit as well. Hopefully that will give everybody an amazing way to start their day, to anchor their day, to get their priorities in line and straight, and please God, to only have a blessed, happy and healthy day ahead of you. Take care.